Hello, good evening, Andy. So everybody, so good evening. So let me share my screen. Okay, so thank you, Shashank. Like, so today, what we'll be discussing here is we'll see system introduction today. So how to log into SAP. We just had like small introduction yesterday. So we'll see like system introduction today, and what are the different screens are available in SAP, and I mean, what are the settings we need to? I mean, what are the ways we can get into SAP application, right? So those things we'll be discussing today, and what are the different versions we'll be using in SAP. So that also we'll be discussing today. So please stop me if you have any doubts in between, or if you have any doubts now, like you can ask me also. Fine. Okay. So now, like so let me write SAP. So normally we'll call it as a SAP. Okay. So people will be calling it as a SAP, but SAP is not the right terminology to use. So, but we'll call it as a SAP. SAP. So always we'll call it as a SAP only. SAP R by 3. Okay. So SAP is like systems, applications, products, data processing, in data processing. It's actually it is a ERP package. There are so many ERP packages are available in the market. So SAP is a market leader in ERP segment. Like you might have seen, like Oracle CRM. Okay, so PeopleSoft, like PeopleSoft is like now it is Oracle CRM. Like we have like different types of ERPs are available in the market. But yeah, SAP, as I said, SAP is a market leader. Even Tally will be used for accounting package, right? So it is also kind of account ERP. So SAP became very famous because it has integration with all the departments. If you take a company, right? So for example, if you're taking automobile company, or if you're taking a manufacturing company, so there will be so many departments. There will be so many departments are will be there in the company. Okay, for example, if I take one company here, we have a finance department. So we have HR department. So we have marketing, sales department. So we have procurement. So we have like production. We'll be having like warehouse. So there will be so many departments. So when you're using SAP, it is very nicely integrated with all the departments. Okay, so SAP is a centralized system which is integrated with all the departments. For example, like I'm placing the order in SAP. In SAP. So if you are using, if any client is using SAP, so the moment once you place the order, automatically the notification will be sent to the production department, or it will be sent to the warehouse department, saying that like what is the stock is available. Once they check the stock, if the stock is not available, then immediately notification will be sent to the production department to start the production. Okay, so if they don't have the raw material, then immediately so there will be notification will be sent to the procurement department saying that like to purchase the required raw material. Okay, so if the raw material is pending from vendor side, like there is a payment pending, so immediately like there will be notification will be sent to the finance department saying that like for making the vendor payments. Okay, so it's a centralized system. So the moment once you start the transaction, it will be notified or updated into different department, saying that like to start with their transactions, whatever they require for them. Okay, so that is the reason SAP became very famous. Okay, so because it is integrated with all the departments. So each and every department, if you take in a company, so has been divided as a module in SAP. For example, sales. Okay, sales department in SAP will call it the sales and distribution module. The same way, procurement. So it will be called as a marketing management. Sorry, materials management. Same way. Okay, if you take the finance. Okay, so finance department will be called as a finance and controlling. FICO. HR, okay, human resources, production planning. Okay, so we have production PP module, we have warehouse module, WM module. Okay, so like this, we have different modules are available in this SAP. People whoever expertise in the particular area, they'll be learning that. Okay, there will be so many. So basically, we'll divide it as a functional modules and technical modules. Okay, so in functional, like, we'll have the sales and distribution module, materials management, FICO, finance and controlling, then production planning, WM, warehouse management, so HR. So like we have semi technical, like, semi technical also we have like BW. So we have security, SAP security team. Then we have basis team. So basis is basically admin kind of thing, like, so SAP admin, like they'll be creating the users and they'll be looking after the servers. And security, like they'll be looking into the user security and accesses related stuff they'll be taking care of. And BW is completely reporting side. And technical models, if you're coming to a technical, as I said yesterday, it is ABAP. People whoever expertise in the particular area, they'll be choosing the particular module. Okay, so I have sales background, so I selected SD as my core module. So if I have procurement experience and core experience, then I'll be getting into MM. People who are good in finance side or accounting side, they'll be choosing the FICO module. So that is the reason, like, so these modules will be called as a functional module. There are so many modules, like almost like more than 18 modules, core modules are available. So people who are expertise in the particular area, so they'll be getting into they'll be learning the particular module. So basically, anybody can learn about SD and MM models. These are all most relevant modules. It can be understandable by anybody, even layman also can understand easily, because sales and purchases, right? So it's a part of our life. So whenever you want to buy something, so it's a kind of sales. If you want to sell something, like, if you want to sell your phone, or if you want to sell your furniture, you want to sell like TV. So that is kind of like, that is kind of sales, right? So it's a part of our life. So that is the reason, like, though we don't have the experience in sales side or purchasing side, people will be able to understand, like, different business scenarios easily in SD and MM model. So most of the people who doesn't have the technical experience, technical knowledge, so they'll be learning the SD and MM module. So that is the most preferable. Why I cannot prefer the FICO is, like, we should have the accounting knowledge. If you are a CA or a CWA, or if you have some good accounting knowledge, then definitely FICO is preferable. So people can learn easily about FICO if you have accounting background. And production planning, I cannot recommend for the people who doesn't have the core experience, because production is one of the most complicated area, because they'll be having different scenarios in production side. Okay, so we should be able to understand the terminology, what is happening in production side, right? If you don't have the experience in production side, then it's very difficult to understand. So basically, BTech background with the mechanical or, like, production side, they'll be having good knowledge about the production planning. See, they like, the same way warehouse, like, if you have good experience in warehouse side, if you have good understanding about the warehouse terminology, then it is very easy for you to understand the warehouse management model. So until unless if you don't have the core experience in FICO or production or warehouse management side, then it is not recommended to learn these modules, right? But SD and MA model, anybody can learn. Like, I have seen people who learn like, who is having the background of, like, BA English literature and BA hotel management, people also like, they learn these modules and they're settled very well. I've seen, like, I have known many people who learn SD and MA model, and they're like, they're able to follow, or they're able to understand the things, and they're started working also. I've seen many people who doesn't have the core experience and core knowledge also, because it is easily understandable by anybody, right? So these are the modules which are available in like, SAP side. So people may ask me, like, why SAP became very famous than other ERPs, right? As I said before, ERPs, there are so many ERPs are available in the market. So SAP is one of the market leader. And any other ERPs, any one of you? CWL, CRM, right? Very good.
JD Edwards.
Very good. Excellent. So JD Edwards.
Ban.
Very good. Very good. Ban.
Oracle CRM.
So Oracle CRM, CBL CRM, like, so I think PeopleSoft CRM, like, that was taken over by the Oracle, right? I'm not sure. Like, yeah. So something, yeah. So JD Edwards. Okay. So sorry, JD Edwards. And Ban. one which is very famous in Middle East countries. So basically, there are so many before SAP also, like, there are so many ERPs are available. Okay, so become for example, JD Edwards and BAN. So these also one type of ERP, but these two are very famous for logistic solutions. It will not give the end-to-end solutions. As I said, SAP gives the end-to-end solution. So where it can integrate with other systems, but JD Edwards and done, right? So it will be giving mostly they'll be using for logistic solutions only. Whereas CBEL, it gives solution for CRM, okay, customer relationship management. Whereas SAP, right? So it gives the end-to-end solution. No, if you are using SAP, like no other software is required in your company. So we can provide the solution for production side. We can integrate the to sales, and we can integrate the to procurement side and warehouse management and finance side. So if you use SAP, no other software is required. So, but still there are few clients, they'll be using different systems based on their convenient and based on their comfort. But SAP become very famous because it has very good integration with all the departments. Okay, so it gives you one solution. It will be a single stop solution for all the requirement for the client. Right. Another advantage what we have in SAP is integration with other systems. Not only SAP, we can integrate with other systems also. In front end, we can use other systems, and in background, we can have SAP. So integration between SAP to other systems is very easy compared to other systems. So like Amazon portal, we have portal to SAP integration. So they'll be using different system in front end. They'll be using their own developed ERP system in front end, and their background they'll be having the SAP system. So all these transactions, whatever they are doing in front end, it'll be integrated with the SAP, and in back end, so all the transactions and data will be recorded in SAP system, right? So the same way, another advantage what we have here is so reporting. Okay, reporting is very good in SAP. Because we have spread reporting solutions available in SAP compared to all other applications. SAP became very famous because of reporting. They have very good reporting system in SAP, right? So that is the reason, it has got almost 33% market share in the ERP segment across the globe, right? Fine. So any questions here?
So Sudhakar, since you talked about integration from that perspective, I would just like to add, you can also touch base like SAP PI, SAP process integration. So
Yes,
which is used primarily to interface between SAP and other external applications.
Exactly. So that will be part of we can call it as a PI. So when we are discussing about the integration with other systems, right? So we can discuss about that also. Yeah.
Yeah, it is also called as process orchestration nowadays.
Exactly. So it is interface, we can interface with other systems, right? When you're interfacing other systems, it is kind of middleware. So there are so many middlewares available in the market, but PI is recommended by SAP.
So Sudhakar Garu, there was another, the mention of S4 HANA.
Yes. So S4HANA, so actually SAP ECC 6.0, let's say I'll compare here. SAP R/3, SAP R/3, we have S4HANA. These two are different systems. Okay. So when you're discussing about the S4HANA, right? Sorry. S4HANA. So SAP R/3 is different and S4HANA is different. So though both are different products from SAP, it has so these two are different products which is introduced by SAP. So when you're talking about the SAP R/3, so there are some limitations. Okay, so because they want to compete with the current market, because most of the companies are coming with the different advanced technologies. So they came up with a new product called S4HANA. Okay, so we'll discuss what is there in S4HANA. So that also will touch base in future, on our 2 hours sessions, right? So we'll discuss about the S4HANA also. Okay, so but we cannot compare with the SAP R/3 with the S4HANA. So S4HANA is completely different product. It's not a module. So complete product from SAP. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So coming to versions, right? I have started working from 4.6C. Okay, so and we have SAP. We will call it as a ECC 4.6C. We will call it as a ECC 4.6C version. Okay, so 4.7, it was old versions I'm talking about, and we have seen 5.0. So then so currently they have introduced with the ECC 6.0. ECC 6.0, the current version which we are using. From ECC 6.0, they started releasing the enhancement packs, EHP 1. Okay, so till the current version, current, after that we have EHP 2, like this, it is coming. And current, we have almost like EHP 12 we are using currently. I think it went till EHP 12 also. So EHP 16 also. So currently we are using EHP 12. So actually I have started working on 4.6, then it was moved to 4.7, 5. So there will be, they started with the ECC 6.0. From 6.0 onwards, so they started introducing the enhancement packs like EHP 1, EHP 2, EHP 3, EHP 4. So like this, going on, like the current version, I think it is EHP 16, but I'm currently using EHP 12 enhancement pack. Okay. So these are the versions. Okay, if someone will ask you what kind of version we are using, so the answer should be ECC 6.0, EHP 12 version we are using. Okay, so I think the current version like which is running now is EHP 16. Okay, so but we are using EHP 12. So every year there will be releases. So there will be clients based on the requirement, right? So they will be upgrading themselves. So their current system to recent versions, right? So these are version. So now coming to SAP application. So basically, as I said yesterday, so we'll have SAP GUI installed in our system. SAP GUI, which is called as a graphical user interface. Okay, so by using SAP GUI, so here we have. So we'll be getting the server access, so I have added the server details here. So once we add the server details, we'll be connecting to the server. Okay, so here I'll click on the login button. So we'll get the login screen here. Okay, so if you don't want to use the server, then we can install SAP in your system, but it will occupy almost 250 GB hard disk, and at least we need to have 3 to 4 GB RAM. Okay, so, and it is like when you're using SAP in your system, like as a standalone, so we should not use the internet because there will be some antivirus application will run in background and it will delete some files related to SAP. So SAP application will get, or SAP software get corrupted because of antivirus. So we should be very careful when you're using the standalone application install in our system, right? So instead of that, we can go with the server access. So once we connect to SAP GUI, so which is graphical user interface. Okay, so we will enter the server details. We'll add the server details here. Once we add the server details, we'll click on the login button. So we'll get the login screen here. So we'll have the login username. We'll be getting the dedicated username and password. So the moment once we enter the username and password, we'll get into the SAP main screen. So the main screen in SAP, which will be called as the easy access screen. So easy access screen. So everywhere, whoever logs into SAP. So the initial screen will be called as the easy access screen. So easy access screen here, so mainly it will be used by the end users in production environment, right? In real time scenarios. So it will be used by the end users. So this screen will be used. Okay, this is a place where they will be using to create the master data as well as transactional data. As I said yesterday, so master data, nothing but a creation of the customer master data, creation of the material master data. So creation of condition master data. So creation of the orders, creation of the deliveries, creation of the billing documents, creation of the purchase orders, creation of the inbound deliveries, creation of the invoices. So all these transactions will be created from easy access screen only. Okay, so all the master data, creation of the master data, any kind of master data, so it will be created from easy access screen only. So this is a very important screen, okay, where all the master data and transaction data will be created. If we see this screen, we'll have so many so many sections here. First one, you can see menu bar. So we'll have all the menu options. So from system here, right? So you can, if you click on the system, if we go on status here, you can see what is the version which currently we are using. Okay, product version, right? You can see so all the what are the enhancement packs which are added here. SAP basis install, all the packages you can see. So basically, if we come here, SAP application, there will be ECC application. So these are the add-ons which we have it in the system. So where it went off. So all these modules which you are using here, if you see here, ECC 6 points, ECC 6. So 6 nothing but a ECC 6. Okay. So these are the different versions which you are using. Like if you go here, install versions. So here also you can see. Okay. So is core ECC 604. Okay. ECC 6.0 we are using. Okay. EHP4 here. These are like practice version. Like we will be using EHP4 here. Okay, so like this we can see like what is the database also, MS SQL. Okay, so what is the operating system, Windows network NT. So these are the technical when they're installing SAP, right? They'll be configuring that, but I'm just showing that nothing like nowhere useful for us basically. So all the menu options we can see here, and we'll have toolbar, all the tools like save button, back button, close button, print button, search button, like all the options we'll be having here, and we'll have the command menu. Menu will be using for the entering the transaction codes here. So transaction codes in SAP are very important. So these transaction codes can be entered in command field. So to access the different screens, it's a kind of shortcut. For example, I wanted to create the sales order. If I want to create the sales order, so from main menu, we'll be accessing the sales order creation screen. For example, I'll go to main menu. So I'll go to sales logistics, sales and distribution. I'll go to sales. If I want to create the order, I'll click on create button. So we're getting into sales order creation screen. The same way, if I want to create the delivery. Okay, so for example, logistics, sales and distribution, shipping and transportation, outbound delivery, create single document with reference to sales order, right? So we'll be getting into sales order delivery creation screen. Okay, if I want to create the master data, for example, I want to create the customer master data. The same way, logistics, sales and distribution, master data, business partner, customer, create. So here you can see complete. So this is a way we can reach to creation of customer master creation screen. Right. So, but every time it's very difficult for us to follow these paths, right? So we cannot follow the path like if we go to Costco, if they are using SAP, right? They cannot go to go to this, or they cannot follow this path every time whenever there is a customer, right? So instead of following this path, we'll have transaction codes. So each and every transaction, like in each and every screen, they'll be having its own transaction. For example, if I want to create the sales order, so I'll enter the transaction code here. There will be unique transaction code, like VA01. I'll enter VA01 here. So we'll get into transaction sales order creation screen immediately. Instead of following path, okay, so we'll use the transaction code. For example, if I want to create the delivery, VL01M is the transaction code. So across the globe, these transaction codes are common. So any project, any client, any company, any country, these transactions will be common. These transaction codes are common. Okay, SAP, these are the transaction codes which are provided by SAP. Standard SAP has been provided these things. Okay, so we should be able to remember this. Okay, so by practicing, so no need to by heart these transaction codes and path. But obviously, like once or twice, if you start working on the application side, you'll be able to remember all the transaction codes. There will be like hundreds of transaction codes will be remembering. So because everybody, like if you're practicing every day, or if every day we'll be working on this screens, right? So it's very easy for us to remember all these transaction codes. So it's not required to remember all these things like by hearting. So on our own, like when you're practicing, you'll be able to remember this. Okay. So what I mean to say here,
is there a reference sheet of all those transaction codes under the help?
So we have separate, like we have tables. And we'll get it like we can download from internet also, but so it's very difficult, and like so there will be transaction codes from SD model, there will be transaction codes from MM side, there will be transaction code FICO, there will be transaction codes from ABAP, like each and every model they'll be having their own models. Each and every model they'll be having hundreds of transaction codes, right? So the easy way is like practice well. So that is the only method, like only way we can practice, we can get to know about the transaction codes, but still we'll get the reference sheet also. There are some tables where you can search for the transaction codes also. Okay, I'll show you in future, but as of now, the intention is to practice yourself and get to know about the transaction codes.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So we can enter the transaction codes in the command field, so we can get into the the particular screen, right? So here we are in main menu. So all the menu options are available to reach the different screens here. In the bottom side, we can see the status bar. So it will display some status like when you're saving some documents, right? It will show you some status error messages or warning messages, like kind of statuses. It will be displayed in the status bar. Okay, so these are one thing. So, but the question the next question here is like where the consultants will be working. So we are the consultants. Basically, we'll be calling as a functional consultants because I'm working for SD module. If you're working for SD module, you are a SD functional consultant or SD consultant. You can call it a SD consultant or functional consultant. If you say yourself as a functional consultant, they'll ask you like what is your module. So I will tell them that I'm SD consultant, SD functional consultant. So if you are working for MM, so you are MM consultant, FICO consultants, right? So here we'll be mainly into functional side. So ABAP the same way. If ABAP people working, then they'll be calling as a technical consultants. I'm working for ABAP, right? So where the consultants will be working. So consultants will be working in the different screen. So for all the configurations and customizations will be done from the different screen. That is called as the IMG screen, which is called as a implementation guide, right? So which is called as implementation guide. So here IMG screen implementation guide. So to reach the IMG screen, what is the path? So there is a separate path for that. Tools, customizing, IMG, execute project, and click on SAP reference IMG. So this is the way we can get into IMG screen, right? So all the consultants will be working in the IMG screen for the configuration and customizations, right? So any kind of customizations and configurations, everything will be done from here. So only consultants will be having access here. So no end users can access this because if we give access to them, so if they do some changes, okay, it may impact their business, right? That is the reason they'll not be having IMG screen access. That will be restricted for everybody, all the end users. Okay, so as I said before, so each and every screen there will be two ways to reach. One is by using menu path, another one is by using transaction codes. We saw the path for accessing the IMG screen, right? So tools, customizing, IMG, execute projects, right? So these are path. But instead of using path, we can use the transaction code also. The transaction code which we use to reach the IMG screen is SPRO, SPRO, right? Once we enter this pro in a command field, so we'll get into customizing screen, then click on the same IMG reference IMG. Now we got into IMG screen. So main screen we got it. So all the configurations, customizations, different modules, like if you see here, sales and distribution related settings will be available here, right? If you want to see procurement related settings, like if you see somewhere like materials management, right? So each and every module, they'll be having their own menu bars here. So we'll get into particular screens and we can do the customizations according to client requirement. So this is a way we can reach to IMG screen. So by using the transaction code SPRO, right? So now if I'm in IMG screen, I'm just giving you one more shortcut here. I'm in IMG screen. From IMG screen, I want to go to sales order creation screen. So as I said before, the transaction code which you use for the creation of the order is VA01. If I enter VA01, system will not accept. We need to go back to easy access screen. We can enter any transaction code VA01. Then we can get into VA01 transaction code, that is sales order creation screen. I'm in sales order creation screen. If I want to go to IMG screen, I need to enter the SPRO, but system will not allow because we need to go back to easy access screen. Every time going back to easy access screen is very difficult, right? In this case, what we can do is we can use a /n as a prefix and use the transaction code SPRO. Right? Use this /n SPRO. So now it will closes the existing session and opens the new session. Right? So here, instead of going back to easy access screen every time, we use this /n. So if I use this /n, it will closes the existing session. That means it closes the IMG screen and opens the new screen. Right? So now I don't want to close the existing session, but I want to open the new session. In that case, instead of using the /n, we use the /o. If I use the /o, it will not close the sales order creation screen here. Current screen it will not close. If I want to open the new screen, like in IMG screen, I use the, or if I want to open the delivery creation screen, VL01N, right? So we'll get into particular screen. So we have two screens now. We have sales order creation screen as well as delivery creation screen. From delivery creation screen, if I want to go to IMG screen, enter the /o SPRO. So the main difference between /n and /o is /n closes the existing session and opens the new session. If I use /o, it will not close the existing session, but it opens the new session. Like this, maximum we can have 6 sessions. We can open maximum 6 sessions here, right? So we have 3, so we can open another 3 sessions also. We can work on multiple sessions. All right.
Hello, Sudhakar. Sorry, Srikanth here. Just
Yes, sir.
wondering,
Yeah.
so how do we know the transaction ID for the particular sales order? So from this UI, do we get to know the transaction code for that sales order, or is there any?
So it's a standard, right? Like no, for any whenever you want to create the sales order, we use the transaction code as VA01. That's it. So whenever, like so that is a unique. Okay, so I mean, everywhere, like wherever you go, whatever is a project, if I enter VA01, that means it is a sales order creation screen only.
Okay, so
There is a way
since I'm new to the sales SAP, so if I get an access to this UI, and I'll be going to that path, and if I want to know the transaction code for that particular path, how do I know that? So
Yeah.
is it something predefined
another way
codes we
that
have to refer, or?
there is another way to find out, and can you please go to that VA01?
Yep.
Right side bottom, there is a VA01. This way we can find the transaction screen, transaction code. Whenever we
Okay,
are
okay.
navigating to any screen, you can find this way.
In the
Okay,
bottom, you can
makes
see, right?
sense.
You can see.
Yeah.
And there is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
table also. If you want to find out, like we'll discuss about that. There is a table called
Sure.
GSTC. So that we'll discuss in future, like how to access the data from the tables, right? So that also we can find it out. So by using the tables, we can pull it out. Like, no, what is the transaction? What is
Yeah.
use of that, right? So we can find it out.
Sure,
Right?
sure. Yeah, thank you.
Fine. So any other questions here?
Yeah, Sudhakar Garu, you said that we have to go to this IMG module
Yeah.
in order to create the fields which the customer wants. Suppose
Not sales, like so. Just to correction here. So for IMG screen, we will not create any transactions or we will not create any master data. We'll be customizing all the customization settings and the
Will be
configuration
done
settings will be
here.
available here. Yeah.
So if you want to add an address field, then you can go from here and add an address field to the customer or.
Yeah. So if it is not available, definitely we'll be doing it here. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So this is done by a functional consultant or by the technical
So
consultant?
here, 2 types only. So basically, for example, so when in SAP, whenever I'm creating the order, let's say I'm just giving an example here. I'm creating the order. Okay. So I'm creating order. There will be some standard fields like, customer address 1. Okay. So address 1, this is a standard field which is already available. Now I want to add some XYZ field in the existing screen, which is not available in SAP system, right? So XYZ field. Okay, I want to add some additional field based on my country requirement. Let's say, for example, in Chile, we have one field called Boleta and Factura. So they have additional fields. They wanted to have one additional field in their sales order creation skill, which is not available in standard
US.
SAP system.
Okay.
Exactly. So now we have a requirement to add the additional fields. That is the requirement I got it from client. So in that case, as a functional consultant, I cannot create the new field because it has to be added in the table also, the background tables also. So we need to collect that requirement and we need to write the logic saying that in which screen you want to this field and what is the length of the field and under which table this field need to be added. All these details we need to write the functional specification, and the functional specification we need to give it to technical team. So technical team, once they understand the requirement and what is the logic you have provided, they'll get into particular screen and they'll add this by using their code, right? So they'll add this field in their screen and in the table level also. Once they add it, they'll inform us to test it. So then we'll proceed with the testing, whether it is working as expected or not. If it is standard fields, SAP is provided a lot of fields. If that particular field is not available in the standard SAP, then we'll go for enhancement.
Okay, got you. Thank you so much.
Yep. So any other questions? Fine. So now we got into so how to get into different screens, right? So we understood about the easy access screen. So 1 second. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have easy access screen and another one is IMG screen. So easy access screen will be used for the transactions and master data creation. And so IMG screen will be used for all the configurations and customizations. So it will be accessed by the, or it will be used by the consultants, whereas easy access screen will be used by the end users. Okay, so basically now these are the main screens. Okay, we'll be discussing with starting with the master data and how to create a master data. Then first we'll start with the enterprise structure. So those things before starting into before getting into those details, like I wanted to give the landscape, how the system landscape will be there in SAP projects, right? So you might be using system landscape in your project in different technologies. So the same way we'll have system landscape in SAP also, SAP projects also. We'll discuss that system landscape. So here, first of all, we'll have the development server. So all the developments will be done in the development server. Okay, so all the developments and unit testing. So once development is done, we'll do the unit testing in development server. Once development is over, so whatever the development we have done in the development server, and once everything is fine, then we'll be moving to the all the changes. We'll be moving all the changes to test systems, right? So we'll have it as a quality. We'll call it as a quality system, quality server, right? In quality server. Okay, in quality server, what we'll do is we'll do the integration testing. Okay, we'll do integration testing. We'll do regression testing. We'll do the performance testing. So all kind of end-to-end testing we'll be doing here. In development server, we are responsible for doing the development. Any kind of configurations and customizations, anything will be done in the development server only. So we'll be doing the development as well as unit testing. So the main difference between unit testing and integration testing, any idea? Any one of you? What is unit testing and integration testing? So most of the people will be knowing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unit testing means the developer or
Mhm.
the functional consultant configure the configurations. They are going to do that, the testing, and integration testing will be done by the quality tester, meaning it might have like a different integration configurations as well, so that we have to complete the integration testing as well.
Yeah. So in simple words, right? So unit testing is it's a we'll do simple testing. For example, as per our previous example, we have added new field. Okay, we'll test whether the value is coming to the particular new field or not. We'll do very simple. We'll not get into more we'll not do end-to-end testing here. We'll do developer. Will do the developer means we are also kind of developers. Once your customization is done or once your configuration is done, we'll do very simple testing. So once we find unit testing is good, then we'll ask the basis team. Basis team is a team who will be moving the changes to the quality server. We'll give the transport request number. We'll discuss about that later. So we'll give the particular unique ID to move the changes from development to quality server. Once the changes are in quality server, then we'll do the integration testing. Integration testing is nothing but end-to-end testing. So for example, if I want to test something in IT, okay, if I want to do integration testing, what I'll do is I'll create the order first of all. So once I create the order, then we'll create the delivery. Once create the delivery, there is an integration point with the MM team, right? So we'll check whether this value is correctly updating in MM module or not. Then we'll do the billing. So once billing is done, then it is integration between SD and SD and FI. So how the value is getting updated in FI side also, if it is required, right? We'll do the complete end-to-end testing and make sure that there is no defect or the values passing from order to our entire cycle from inquiry to billing. So and accounting documents is getting posted correctly. So we need to do the end-to-end testing and we need to record all the whatever the testing you have done in the IT, right? So everything we need to record it as a functional consultant. That is your responsibility, right? So that is integration testing. So end-to-end testing will be called the integration testing. So integration with other modules also. Not only if you are doing some changes in SD, there will be some integration points with the MM module, PP module, and FI modules also, right? So we need to test end-to-end, integrated with other modules also, whether this value is getting passed correctly or not into other modules, right? So that also we need to test properly. Then RT. So any idea what is regression testing?
Any new changes does you have made to the program then you go and test that it is not breaking the old records
Exactly.
or the old code.
Exactly. So that is correct.
Already existing.
Exactly. So because of our new changes, our existing functionality should not get affected. So we have added the new field in the sales order creation screen. Because of that screen, my accounting documents are not getting posted in FI site. So that is a regression. So I have bought a flat. So there is no puja room in that. So I built up the puja room. Because of puja room, my washroom is getting affected. So that is a regression. Right. So because of the new program, because of the new functionality, okay, my existing functionality should not get affected. That is a regression. That is our responsibility. We have to make sure that existing functionality is working fine, as well as current, the new functionality is also working fine. So that is your responsibility as a functional consultant. So basically, you are a bridge between functional consultant role is very critical in SAP projects, because you are getting the requirement from the client. Client doesn't know SAP. He'll talk about the business, business terminology, and he'll explain the business. As a functional consultant, he should understand his business. Okay, so now, if there is any enhancement is required, then you need to talk to technical consultants. Technical consultant doesn't know about business. He doesn't know about the terminology. If I say sales order creation, we need to create the sales order creation, and if I talk in business terminology, you'll not understand. I need to give him the technical details. I need to tell them, there is a new field need to be added in VBAK table. So there is a new field need to be added in VBAP table or VBAP table. We need to give him more technically. So you are a bridge between business as well as technical team. So you should be able to understand the business as well as SAP, because you know SAP as well as business. So that is the reason your role is very critical here, right? So to make sure that whenever we do some development, whenever we do the certain configurations, so we need to make sure that existing functionality is also working fine. So we need to get the sign off from the RT team also. Regression team, there will be in few clients, they'll be having RT team separately. The same time PT also, performance testing. So because of our new additional changes in the program, existing program, my performance of the system should not get impacted. So I'm pulling some report. So sales report from last 30 days, it is taking 2 minutes to get the report across the globe. But after addition of new fields in the report, my report, it is taking 10 minutes of time. So it is a drastic change. We should not get performance should not get impacted. So if it is 2 minutes, if it is increasing to 2.5 or 3 minutes, that should be fine. But it is going for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that will not be acceptable, right? So PT, performance testing, also we are responsible. So but there will be a separate team for performance testing. They'll be taking the traces and they'll be comparing what is the time taking, what is the time the report was taking before changes, and after changes they'll trace it, and so they'll compare and they'll give a report. So based on that, we can take a decision whether these changes can be moved or not, right? So as a functional consultant, we are responsible for unit testing development. Okay, so then we are responsible for unit testing, IT, that is integration testing. So integration testing is end-to-end testing. Okay, integration with other modules. RT, regression testing. So because of the new functionality, existing functionality should not get impacted. Our PT is performance testing. So there should not be any issue with the performance. Okay, once we feel everything here, okay, once you feel everything perfect here, then we'll ask the basis team again. We'll contact the basis team, or we'll send a mail, or we'll raise a ticket to move all the changes from quality system to UAT servers, UAT systems. So UAT is user acceptance test system, right? So we'll inform the user. So we'll inform the business spark, okay, business contact, whoever has given this requirement to us. We'll ask them to test the functionality. Okay, so UAT systems is a replica of production. So all the data, whatever we use in production, right? So all the data will be there in UAT systems, right? We'll inform the users to test the functionality. Okay, so once the changes has been moved to UAT server, we'll inform the users to test the functionality. Once he approves, once you give the sign off, then only the changes will be approved for production. So production is it's a live server. So business will start using the functionality of the particular application in their day-to-day business transactions. Okay, so for example, if they find any issue in UAT when they are doing UAT, right? So what they'll do? So again, we need to replicate the issue the same way in development server. So user is getting one issue, he's not getting the expected value here. So we need to replicate the same thing in development server. If there is an issue, then we need to do the changes in the code, or we need to change the configuration. We'll test it again. Okay, again we'll move the changes to the quality server. We'll do the integration testing, all other testings again in quality server. Then it will be moved to the UAT server. Once it again we'll test it. Once he approves, then only it will be moved to the production. Right. So we cannot do the changes in quality servers or UAT, any customizations, configurations, or any developments cannot be done in the quality servers and UAT servers. We have to go back to the development server again. We have to do the changes in development server only. Again, it has to come through quality server, quality systems, and UAT. Then only it will be moved to the production systems. Yes.
So Sudhakar, just I want to interrupt here. So in most of the client places, they may not have a separate UAT server. So the UAT will be done in the quality server itself.
Yeah. So I mean, both are quality systems, but so I'm just most of the cases, right? I've seen they have UAT servers also.
Yeah.
Okay. So most possible cases we'll be discussing. Generic scenarios we are discussing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So. Okay, so the question you might be asking, right? Like most of the people asking, like how the changes will be moved from one server to another server. So as I said before, whatever the changes you are doing in the development server, so all the changes will be captured in transport request. So transport request. So in short form, we will call it as a TR. So whatever changes you are doing in development server, all the changes will be captured in. Okay, whenever, so for example, I did some customization, or I did some configuration. The moment once I save it, that will be captured in transport request. So there will be one unique number will be generated, for example, A123. So we'll give this unique number to basis team, and we'll ask them to move the changes to from development to quality server, from quality to UAT server, from UAT to production server, right? So there are two types of transports. One is like workbench request. Another one is customizing request. Another one is customizing request. So workbench request will be used by the technical consultant to save their technical changes. For example, they did some program changes. They are created new tables, or they created the new fields. Whatever the technical changes, everything will be saved in the workbench request. Whatever the configurations will be used, as a functional consultant, whatever the function configurations we are doing, all the configurations will be saved in the customizing request. So what I meant to say here is, so workbench request will be used by the technical consultants, and customizing request will be used by the functional consultants to save the configurations. Okay, all the technical changes will be saved on the workbench request, and the customizing request, it contains only configuration part. So there will be some unique number, one unique number for each and every TR. So this TR will be provided to basis team once we approve, once our testing is done, our development is done, our unit testing is completed. So once we feel everything is fine, we'll release that transport, and we'll inform to the basis team, we have released this transport request. Please move the changes to quality server. Okay, so once they check and once they feel that is the transport contains all the data, then they'll move the changes from development to quality server. And in quality server, we'll test all the IT, RT, PT, everything is done. Again, we'll release the one more node here in transport request, and we'll inform to the basis team to move the changes from quality to UAT server. Right? So then they'll move the changes to the UAT server. So once everything is fine here, again we'll have the production date, like go live, right? So let's say we have go live on 30th of November. So basis team, they'll have all the transport requests they'll be listing out in their system, and they have some procedure to move all the transport requests on the November 30th. So for example, I'm just giving an example here. So on particular go live date, so they'll move all the transport requests into production. So once the changes has been moved to production, so we are responsible for validating all the transport requests, like whether the changes has been moved correctly or not. All the transport requests has been included into or moved to production or not. So that is also your responsibility as a functional consultant. You need to validate all your transport requests has been moved to production. Okay. So once the changes are in production, so business will start using particular transactions in production server. So if they find any issue in production, again they'll raise the production issue. So production support starts from there, right? So these are complete so system landscape and how the process transport process will happen, and what are the different servers are there generally we use in SAP. That's what we have discussed here. Any questions?
I have a question. So do they, I mean, like in other software, like they have like the version control system, right? So
Yes,
do we have a version control
Yes,
system?
we
there?
have that. So yeah, as a
So
functional consultant, we'll not get into function controls, but so technical side, so they'll be comparing, like, for example, like I'm changing one program here. So for example, I'm just giving some program, some MV45, some XXS program. I want to do some changes in this program. So some other team, I'm from A team, some from B team, they want to add their own logic also in the same program. So in this case, so like I'm already blocked this object. So because at the same time, two persons cannot change the program, single program. So until unless I move the changes to production, they cannot do the changes. Right. So they, by using the version controls, right, like they can check it out, like, what is the latest version, like what is the latest changes who has done. So we have that, like, we can compare, like, from development to quality server. So what is the latest version? Okay, what is the version changes they have done from when you compare with the different servers. So we have that functionality also in SAP. Right.
Sudhakar, do you want to add anything on the cutover activities or something? Or is not
So yeah,
required?
so we'll discuss that later. So like cutover
Yeah,
activities,
sure.
when you're moving the changes to production, right? So we need to
Yeah,
do cutover activities here. Like, so cutover activities is nothing but like, for example, some tables need to be maintained manually. Okay, so before moving the changes to production, so let's say I want to have stock all the manual activities, right, in production server directly. Before moving our changes, we need to complete all the cutover activities. That is like when you're discussing about the methodologies, right? So we'll discuss about that cutover activities also. Yeah. So
great.
I don't want to confuse the people. Like I just gave like an overview how the landscape works here.
Yeah, that's better, Sudhakar. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sudhakar, what is the version control tool generally they use?
So there is no separate tool here. Like we have internal, like internal version control. Like we can in SAP itself, we have option to check the version controls from which system to what system you want to compare the code. That also we can see. That is internal SAP. Like we don't have separate tool for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, if both developers are working on the same code with the different branches, then can they merge their branches to the master?
They cannot do that. So what they'll do is, so for example, they'll comment their code and they'll release their object. They'll give to the other team. So once they complete their their changes, so when they release it, then other team will start working. Only one team can work at a time. So multiple team cannot work in the same object.
Okay.
Same time.
So parallelly cannot be done. So
no, it cannot be done. Yeah. So there is a challenge here, when you are working for the bigger clients, right? So we'll have this issue every time. So before we start our development, first of all, we'll ask the technical team to check whether there is any object locking or not. If there is no object locking, that is well and good. Otherwise, we need to ask them, like, when they are going for go live. So we need to wait till that time. So I mean, we'll have separate plan for that. Like, we need to plan accordingly. They don't. Most of the main critical programs, right? So multiple teams will be having the same requirement to change the similar programs, right? At the time we'll have some issue, but we need to plan for that. Like, when they're going for live. If you're going live before then we'll move our changes first. Then we'll ask them to add their code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions here? Okay, so moving on to methodologies, like so when you're implementing SAP, right? So for any client, we follow some methodologies. So other than SAP, if you're into any other softwares, right? Any other technologies, you'll be using different types of methodologies. Any idea, like any one of you worked on any methodologies? Like Agile methodology, waterfall methodology. Any idea, any one of you?
Yeah, Agile waterfall has been there for a while, and then like the Agile is getting more popular, and then we have the SAFe too, right? Scale Agile.
Exactly. So there are different modules, different methodologies are available in the market, but SAP recommends to use the ASAP methodology. These are SAP recommended methodology. ASAP methodology. Right. So there will be different phases available in SAP methodology for any implementation project, right? So we follow this methodology. So there are phase one is like, first of all, we'll discuss about the project preparation. So very high level project preparation. We'll discuss about the project preparation. So first, like, here mainly, senior level management and stakeholder support will be there. Here we'll be applying the like senior level management and stakeholder support. And we'll be identifying the clear project objectives, like what is the scope and what is out of scope and what is the timelines and everything. Very high level, like, we'll be discussing in the, we'll be we'll be working on the in the stage, in the project preparation stage. And we'll be architect and absent, like, decision making process will happen in this phase actually. So, and we'll be creating an environment suitable for change and re-engineering. So all the like, environment will be created in this phase only, and it will be decided, all the decision makings will be done related to environment. And all project team will be built in this phase only. So how many people we need to have for the functional side, how many people we need to have from the technical side, how many basis team we need to have, how many project management team we need to have. So entire team will be built in the project preparation stage on. Okay, so next phase is business blueprint. Okay, so business blueprint. So in this case, right, so once SAP has defined a business blueprint phase to help the like, extract pertinent information about the company that is necessary for the implementation. Like, for example, like we have how many companies, how many sales organizations we need to have, what are the business scenarios they are following, like they have import sales and they have export sales, they have domestic sales. Okay, so how many plans they have, so what are the different business scenarios they are following. So there will be some workshops will be here. So all the like, the business requirement will be drafted here in the business blueprint stage. Right, each business blueprint document essentially like outlines the future business processes and business requirements here. Everything will be listed out. So we'll be having some workshops here. So we'll be attending the workshop and we'll be understanding their requirement basically. Okay, so then actual development start from the realization phase. That is the third phase. Realization phase. So in realization phase, like all the development will start. Okay, we'll be having the baseline configuration. Okay, so we'll be starting the configuration and we'll be doing the customizations if there is any code changes. So functional specific, starting with the functional specification, FS preparation and technical documentation. So all the documentation will start. Then we'll start the development, and then we'll do the unit testing. Okay, so we'll be configuring like all the everything, like, development perspective, all the testing perspectives, everything will be done in the relation phase also. Okay, so then so coming to the fourth stage, like that is final preparation. So before moving to the production, so we'll be doing all the final preparation. Here we'll be doing all the cutover activities. As I said before, cutover activities are like, all the manual activities. Okay, so whatever you want to do in production manually, right? Before moving into the production, we'll maintain all the data, all the required data. For example, any client, they are not using SAP before. Okay, so there is a XYZ client, they are not using SAP. So now, so from 30th of November, they want to move to production. So before they're moving to production, they need to maintain the existing data, whatever the data they are using in the existing system. So they need to maintain that data manually in existing new system, right? For example, they have like 5,000 stock, 5,000 quantity stock. The quantity cannot be transported through transports. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do through manual activity. So we'll maintain under this plant A. So under this warehouse, okay, so I want to have particular material with the 5,000 stock. Whatever the data we have in existing system, that data need to be maintained in SAP also as a cutover activities. So even manual entries or manual entries in tables, everything will be maintained as part of cutover activities, right? And also in final preparation, we'll do the like, workload testing. Okay, which includes the peak volume, daily load, and other forms of stress testing. All these like, integration testing, function end-to-end testing. So mainly in relation, we'll do the like unit testing kind of, but we'll not do the complete testing. But as part of final preparation, we'll do all kinds of testing and stress testing, workload testing, performance testing, and cutover activities. Everything will be done in the final preparation. Okay, so then fifth one, last stage is go live and support. Right. So the go live milestones, it is itself easy to achieve, but a smooth and eventual go live is another matter altogether. Basically, once we decide the go live, so we'll be ready. You should be ready with all the configurations and transportations, whatever we saved, right? So we think everything should be ready, and on particular date, we'll ask the basis team to move the changes to the production. So once everything is moved perfectly, so once we'll validate all the transport requests and changes has been moved correctly or not, then if they face any issue, so go live support will take care of. Basically, if it is small changes or if it is a big project, so we'll take 3 months of time for the support, go live support. Like, we'll be having some warranty period till 3 months. So whatever the issues they face till 3 months, right? So they'll be supporting them. If it is enhancement project, basically we'll have 3 weeks time to do all these support activities, whatever they face in production server. So we'll be supporting them for 3 weeks or 3 months if it is a bigger project. Right? Basically, these are the 5 phases. So we need to follow when you are implementing SAP for a particular company. Right? Most of the companies will follow. So other companies, it's not mandatory to use the SAP methodology or SAP methodology. Others, I have seen like Philips, like they are using Agile methodology. So some other projects they are using waterfall. Okay, so it depends on client to client. Okay, but SAP recommends to use this methodology. All right. So in if you're going for interview, they'll ask you what is the methodology you're using. Okay, so the answer should be like most of the people will be telling this ASAP methodology, SAP methodology will be using. And if they ask you what are the different phases, you need to explain these phases. There'll be so many documents which explains more. I just gave you very high level information about the methodology. Right. So any questions in the methodology part?
Hi, Sudhakar, just add the testing phase after realization. So
yeah, so final preparation, is a part of testing is part of final.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll do all IT, RT, and PT in the final preparation stage. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Any questions?
Do we have any timelines in SAP methodology?
So it depends, so client, based on client requirement, right? So they'll give they'll give they'll ask for maybe in 2023 November, I want to have this these changes need to be in production. So based on that, we'll plan in the very beginning, right? So project preparation stage itself. So we'll decide timelines. So that is in first stage itself, project preparation, we'll discuss about the timelines also.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So okay, fine. So moving on to the so I will get into application now. So we'll discuss one. We'll take an example here. So based on this example, we'll see how to define these in SAP. Okay. So here we are assuming that we are going to implement SAP. Okay. I'm taking the example of Tata Motors here. Okay. So let's say I'll go to previous slide. So I'm taking the example of Tata Group. So we are implementing SAP for Tata Groups. Okay, so Tata Group is a high, which is the highest level. Okay, so here you're discussing it's a group of companies, right? It's a corporate entity, it's a legal entity. So this node will be called as a company. Okay, it's a corporate entity or legal entity. This is the highest level organizational unit. So we are discussing about the enterprise structure. It is a combination of different organizational units. So this is the organizational unit, which is the highest organizational unit in enterprise structure, which is called as a company, as per the SAP terminology. In SAP, we'll call this highest organizational unit as a company. So under company, we have different entities again. So Tata Group is having Tata Steels, Tata Motors, TCS, there are so on, there are many, right? So I'm just giving, I just listed out very few here. So this node will be called as a company code. Okay, company code is the highest organizational unit in FICU. Okay, finance and controlling, because company code is responsible for all finance related activities. Okay, so when I say finance related activities, preparation of the balance sheet accounts or preparation of the profit and loss accounts, everything will be done at the company code level only. Okay, the highest organizational unit in enterprise structure is a company. Under this, we have different company codes. So, so company code is the highest organizational unit in FICO, which is responsible for all finance related activities. Okay, all the postings. or all the GL accounts, all the profit and loss accounts, all the balance sheet accounts, everything will be prepared under the company code level only. Right? So here we understood, like this is a terminology, right? So company code, other terminology, whatever we're discussing further. So these are all common anywhere, like across the globe, wherever you go, whether it is you are in US or if you go for UK, if you go for India or any country who are using SAP, this terminology will be common. This terminology will not get changes. Company means it's a company in that company also. Okay, in their project also. Company code. So yes, company code is a it is a highest organization in FICO, finance and controlling, which is responsible for all financial related activities. But so how can you take a decision how many company codes you need to have in a company? So based on company's client requirement, based on the business, based on their business, based on their currency. Basically, we'll take the currency as a parameter to have the to decide on the company codes. So based on the, if we have multiple currencies, right? I have business in US, I have business in India, I have business in UK. So we'll have 3 company codes basically, right? So these are all different entities, like that is up to business or how we are going to divide the company codes, right? So this is about the company code. Okay, so then we'll have the sales organization. That means Tata Motors. I'm taking the example of Tata Motors here. Tata Motors is having the sales operation in India as well as in Europe. Okay, so Tata Motors is having the sales operations in India as well as in Europe. Okay, this node will be called as a sales organization. Sales organization is the highest organizational unit in sales and distribution model, SD model. These are bread and butter, right? So company code is the highest organizational unit in FICO, whereas sales organization is the highest organizational unit in SD module. Okay, all the sales related activities will be updated under the sales organization level only. If I do some sales, if I do some deliveries, if I do some billing documents, whatever the sales activities we do, everything will be done at the sales organization level only. So that is the reason I'm calling it as a sales organization is the highest organization unit in SAP. Sorry, sales organization is the highest organization unit in SD model. Okay, so sometimes they'll ask you in interviews also, so what is the highest organization unit in FICO? So the answer should be company code is the highest organization unit in FICO. And the sales organization is the highest organization unit in sales and distribution model. Right? So how many sales organizations we have in our example? Under Tata Motors, we have sales organization in India as well as in sales organization Europe. Okay, so TCS, I'm not talking about the TCS here. Like we'll take simple example here. So Tata Motors, they have 2 sales organizations. Okay, so if I take the sales organization in India, again, so we have different distribution channels here. So what is distribution channel? Distribution channel is a channel in which way material reaches to the customer, right? So we have 2 distribution channels here. One is dealers, another is direct sales. Okay, if I want to buy a car, okay, I'll not go to the Tata Motors plant directly. They'll not sell it to you. So they have a channel, right? So they will go through dealers only. They will go through showrooms only, right? So that is a channel they'll follow. That is called that is one type of channel. Okay, so if I there is a government. Okay, so in government they want to buy 500 buses, Volvo buses. They'll go to the company directly. They'll not go to the dealers. That is called a direct sales. Few companies they'll sell through websites. They sell through e-commerce sites, right? That is they follow the e-commerce as a distribution channel, right? This depends on company to company based on the business process, right? So distribution channel is a channel in which way material reaches the customer, right? We have sales organization, distribution channel. So distribution channel is a part of SD module. Okay, sales organization is the highest organization unit in SD module, but distribution channel is a part of sales and distribution model. Okay, and coming to the division, next node is division, right? Last node in this PPT is division. Division specifies the range of products. Okay, so when I say range of products, like in our example, we have bus division products, truck division products, electronics division, electrical division, groceries division, home appliances division, right? Which specifies the range of products. One division can have multiple materials. If I go to electronics division, we'll have multiple products. If I go for groceries division, we'll have multiple products. If I go to bus division, we'll have multiple buses, like multiple kind of buses. We have multi-axle, we have single axle, right? Sleeper, seater, whatever. So we can have multiple products in a single division, but one product will be there in only one division. So I have refrigerator in electronics division. It will not be part of other division called groceries, right? It will not be part of groceries division. So one division can have multiple materials, but one material will be there only in one division. Just try to remember that one. Okay. So division is the lowest organizational unit in SD module, whereas sales organization is the highest organizational unit in SD module. So division is the lowest organizational unit in SD module. So distribution channel is a part of sales and distribution anyway. Right. So any questions here? Any questions in this example? Please let me know. We'll be taking this example as a base in future. All these scenarios will be based on this enterprise structure only. So whatever the scenario we are going to configure in future in SAP application, right? So we'll take this an example. So the same with the same structure only we are going to configure the things in future.
So
try to understand.
I have a question here. So who defines this enterprise structure? Like,
So
is it like functional consultant responsible to define this structure, or when you get a requirements, like who defines this?
Very good. That is very good question here. So it's a structure, right? So we are not going to do any code changes here. So we are going to, as a functional consultant, your responsibility to get the requirement from the client. So we'll talk to them. So we'll ask them, we'll talk to them, we'll attend the working sessions, we'll attend the workshops, we'll get the details from them. So how many company codes they have, how many sales organizations we need to have, they have, how many sales and distribution channel they have, how many divisions of products they have. We'll list out everything and we'll get the naming convention from them. So they'll provide all the details. What are the settings? What are the data need to be entered inside this sales organization? What are the data need to be entered in the distribution channel? What are the naming convention we need to follow? Everything will be provided by the client. So then, as a functional consultant, you need to that is your responsibility to define the enterprise sector. It's a configuration. It's not a customization. I'm doing the configuration. So based on SAP settings, we are going to create our own structure. We are not going to do the development. There is no technical development involved in this stage. Right.
So basically, like coordinating with the business, like during that business blueprint sessions, like you will understand.
Yeah, exactly.
You will understand more of like which level they should be.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah. So finance team, they'll discuss about the company codes. As SD team, I'll be discussing about the sales organizations. I'll be discussing about the distribution channels, and I'll be discussing of the divisions. So based on the details what they provide, we'll go and create it in SAP. Right. So we'll take the same example and same example we created in SAP. Then you'll understand how to create the enterprise structure, our own enterprise structure in SAP. Right.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So now, so one more thing we need to understand here in this screen, the combination of sales organization, distribution channel, and division will be called as a sales area. Okay. The combination of sales organizations, distribution channel, and division will be called as a sales area. So sales organization India, dealers and buses is one sales area. So can you tell me, any one of you, like how many sales areas we have here? How many sales areas we have?
3.
We have 2.
So here, like sales organization India, dealers, buses is the one sales area. Sales organization India, dealers and trucks. These are second sales area. Sales organization India, direct sales and trucks. These are third sales area. If we go to Europe sales organization, we have one sales area, right?
So altogether 4 of them. Then.
Yes, exactly. Right. So sales organization India, so they have distribution channel through dealers. They're selling bus division products as well as truck division products. In sales organization India, through direct sales, they're selling only trucks. Okay, so sales organization Europe, so they're selling their products only through dealers. They don't have a direct sales, so they're selling only bus division products through dealers in Europe. Okay, these are not the exact figures. I'm just giving an example. Yes.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned currency key as a parameter to justify, whether it is a separate company code or something. So, but here, Europe sales org is part of the sales organization. So, as per your definition of currency key, it has to be part of company code, right?
Yeah. So see, a company code, like Tata Motors, where they have, so that is, we have company these currency parameters in company code as well as, and based on the sales also, right? So they'll be doing the sales in multiple countries. Okay, based on the currency, we can decide how many company codes we need to have. The same time, we'll decide how many sales organizations we need to have.
No, I think like he's saying that like, don't you think like sales org Europe like should be having its own company code?
Yeah, its own company. That's what.
Yeah, so we can have it. Yeah, so I'm just giving an example. It depends on company. So what they'll what they'll do is like when you're discussing about these company codes, right? So Tata Motors, they have the operation, they have head office in India. So they'll have like they'll have one company code. So they can mention that we are doing the exports to Europe countries. So we can define as a sales organization for Europe, right? So we can define it as the export sales organization.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so it's a completely like depends. So if they have their their own operation, they have plans in Europe, then we can have the complete separate company code and separate plan also there.
I think it all depends on like how the business wants to do it. But I mean, I think like it makes sense like to to separate the sales between different countries. But the structure lines probably would be defined by the business, I believe.
Yeah, so because they'll do only sales operations in Europe, for example. So Tata Motors, they have plans and they have company, they have everything set up in India. So for example, they want to do only sales. They are only exporting to other countries. They don't have any other settings over there. I mean, they don't have plan. They don't have like any other setup over there. So in this case, instead of having a separate company code, so we'll treat them as export sales, right? For only for exports, we cannot have this separate company code. The same within the same company code. So we are doing the domestic sales as well as export sales.
No, I think like we are looking at it from more of a like accounting perspective, right? Like how much sales did you make in Europe? Like I wanted to get down to the reports, right? Like how much finance that we have spent in the Europe sales.
Exactly. So we'll have like in GL settings also we'll have separate currency based so based on the currencies also we can have separate GL accounts. So when each and every, for export sales we'll have separate different GL accounts, and for domestic sales we can define different GL accounts.
When you say GL accounts, that means like that would be that would have its own company code?
No. So this is the same company code. So we can, when you're reporting, when you get the report, right?
Okay.
Right, within the same company code. So we'll have separate like GL accounts for general ledger accounts for the domestic sales as well as for the export sales.
Sudhakar, do we have the separate balance sheet even in the sales org level as well?
No, it will be company code level always. Balance sheets and profit and loss accounts, everything at the company code level.
Okay. I mean, in this example, if they want to see exactly what is the Europe's balance sheet or what is the revenue for
then yeah, so I mean we can have the different GL accounts, but balance sheets will be prepared under the company code level.
Okay, it is not possible then if we configure
No. Yeah.
No, based on the GL account, like you can still get all that information too, right, Ravi? So that's what he was saying. Like the GL accounts would be different, like even though they are under one company code. So basically, like company code is like a consolidation of all the GL accounts for all the other like the sales orgs. Seems like.
Yeah, so all the revenues, right? So it is export sales also kind of revenue. So even in same this Tata Motors India, so we'll have the Indian. It will be recorded as the Indian rupees only. So the how many rupees like you got the got a revenue from Europe countries, right?
Sudhakar Garu, may I say something here? We are being testing ERP. So at a higher level, we have a company, and then below that, we have locations, which is considered here as a company code. And the GL accounts will be same for everyone, but at the company level, the GL accounts will be there. And then when you come to running the reports, you run by the company code based on your location. So based on your location, if it is Europe, you run the report, but GL accounts will be same. So the main GL master accounts will be at the company level. So you don't create a cash account for India separately and Europe separately, but the banks will be defined separately. So that's how we do in our company. So I'm just saying at the higher level, it is company, and then the locations and the GL accounts will be at the company level. Hope I make sense. What do you think?
Yeah, that's correct. Like, so basically, so in SAP terminology, we always, so all the GL accounts will be updated at the company code level. So, okay, so we have like, we in sales side, we'll divide it as a domestic revenues as well as export revenues. So will have the different GL accounts will be defined here.
Yeah.
So,
So foreign currency and domestic currency.
Exactly. Yeah. So whenever we run these particular transactions, so automatically those GL accounts will be updated based on the revenues or expenses or tax revenues or so freight charges, right? Everything will be updated in the particular GL accounts.
Yes, depending on the country, also the accounting principles and
Exactly.
everything.
We'll have separate country keys.
Taxation rules. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, like once we run the end-to-end cycle, right? So maybe you'll be understanding better, but very high level we are discussing here, right? So as visualizing the things that will be difficult in this stage, but for sure, like you'll get to know when you are running the complete cycle, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So any other questions here? Fine. So we discussed about the sales area. So sales area is a combination of sales organization, distribution channel, and division, right? So one more thing here, we need to understand sales line. The combination of the sales organization and distribution channel will be called as a sales line. Okay. So sales organization India and dealers is one sales line. Sales organization India, direct sales is another sales line. Sales organization Europe and dealers is another sales line. So total we have 3 sales lines. Okay. So now we understood about the company code, sales organization, distribution channel, division, sales area, sales line. Okay, so basically, when you're working for the project, real-time projects, so company code will be created with the FICO consultant. But here, we practice purpose for we have to run the end-to-end cycles, right? So we'll be knowing like how to create the company code also. Okay, so we'll get to know like how to create the company code and what are the different settings inside that. So we'll not get into more details about that, but still we'll be running the company code, how to create a company code here. So we'll be creating our own company like Tata Group. So we'll be creating our own company code like Tata Motors. We'll be creating sales organization like Sales Organization India. We'll be creating distribution channels like dealers. We'll be creating the division. So everything we'll be creating in SAP system. Like we'll see, like we'll create our own structure, right? So now here we understood about the sales area and sales line. Moving on to the next slide, we have plant. So under company code called Tata Motors. Okay, Tata Motors is having 2 plants. So what do you mean by plant here? Plant is a manufacturing facility where the material get manufactures, right? So that is a manufacturing facility. If it is a retail company, it is a distribution center. Okay, so for retailers, it will be called as a distribution center. For manufacturing companies, it will be a manufacturing facility. So that is called as a plant. So we have, in our example, we have 2 plants. One is in Jamshedpur, another one is in Mumbai, right? So Mumbai, our plant Jamshedpur, they have 2 shipping points. So one is shipping point 1 for buses, shipping point 2 for trucks. Whereas in plant Mumbai, so they have only 1 shipping point because they are manufacturing only buses, right? So in this screen, we can see plant. Plant is the highest organizational unit in materials management. So basically, plant will be defined by the team. Okay, we have the shipping point. So shipping point is a point from where material will be shipped to the customer. It is a part of SD configuration zone again. Okay, so plant is the highest organizational unit in module again. Okay, it will be like all the manufacturing or procurement related things will be updated on the plant level, basically, right? So here shipping points, we can have multiple shipping points in one plant. So we can have based on the materials, okay, based on the shipping conditions, based on the loading groups, which we'll be discussing in future. So we'll be having multiple shipping points. Though we can have the express shipping points also. For example, like I'm having the Amazon Prime account. So if you don't have the Amazon Prime account, so it will take 3 days. Okay, if you're having the Amazon Prime account, then it will be shipped immediately without charges, right? So that is express delivery. So we'll have the express shipping point the same way. All the materials will be packed and everything will be ready. The moment once you get the order, right, so it will be delivered to the customers immediately. So we can have the express shipping point. We can have the return shipping point. Whatever the products we are getting from the customers as a return, so that will be that will come to the return shipping point first. Then it will be moved to the blocker stock. Okay, so you can have multiple shipping points, like, based on the materials, based on the transactions, like if it is a express delivery, whether it is a return delivery. So we can have multiple shipping points. How to create the shipping point, how these shipping points will be used in SAP. So that also we'll be discussing. We'll create our own plans as per this example. We'll create our own shipping point as per this example. Then we'll run the we'll execute or we'll run the transactions and we'll see the difference like between the different shipping points in SAP. Right. Then moving on to the next slide. So one plant can have multiple storage locations. So store location is nothing but a kind of warehouse, but not exactly warehouse. So where the material gets stored. So the main difference between the store location and warehouse is storage location is a part of, okay, it is a facility which is inside the plant. Store location always inside the plant. It cannot be part of outside the plant. Okay, but whereas warehouse is like, it can be outside of the plant also. I have a plant in like, Austin, but my warehouse is in like, San Antonio. Okay, so once manufacturing is done, once quality check is done, then we'll move the our products to warehouse. From warehouse, it will be delivered to the different customers. Okay, the same way. So whereas store location is, it's a part of facility, it's a part of plant always. It's a facility inside the plant where the material gets stored. Okay, so that is the main difference between store location and warehouse. Okay, warehouse, like, there will be separate team who will be taking care of the warehouse, but so I did not added the warehouse functionality here. But when you have the warehouse functionality, there will be another transaction will be included in the sales cycle that will be discussed later. So I just added the store location as a right. So these are basic structure which we need to understand initially. So the same structure will be creating in SAP also, right? So any questions here? So we discussed about the company code, sales organization, distribution channel, division. So we discussed about the sales area, and we discussed about the sales line, and we discussed about the plant. Okay, we'll be creating our own plants, and we'll be discussing about the shipping point. Okay, we have discussed about the shipping point and what are the different shipping points are available. Okay, so then discuss about the store location also. Okay, store location is a facility inside the plant where the material gets stored. Okay, so this is about the enterprise structure. So this example we are going to do it in SAP also. Any questions?
Okay, is storage location is part of SD module or directly it goes to
So it's a part of module, but we'll be creating it.
Okay, as part of this training.
Yes, as part of this training, we'll be discussing about how to create. Yep.
But during the real time scenarios, people has to.
People will be doing that. That's
storage location has to be created.
Yeah, so it's not a very big deal. Like it's just creation of by copying the existing one we can create it. It's not a. It not have very big functionalities like warehouse. Warehouse is like it's a very typical and so it's very difficult to define in SAP. Or there will be so many configuration settings inside that. But whereas store locations are very small organization in it. So each and every node, right? So whatever we see here, so plant, store location, company code, so sales organization, distribution channel, okay, division, all these are like individual organizational units. Enterprise structure is nothing but a combination of organizational units. Right? So in this, basically, our bread and butter is sales organization, distribution channel, division. So we'll be taking care of those three in real-time scenarios. So plant and store location will be taken care by the company code will be taken care by the FICO.
Okay.
All right.
And in this slide, we have company also, right? So do we need to?
Yeah, company is like it will be taken care by the FI only. It's a like it is no use basically. We're just a corporate entity, but everything will be done at the company code level basically.
Okay. So I mean, as part of configuration, do we need?
Yeah, we'll be doing that one. So basically, FI people in real time, FI people will be doing that one. But we'll be working. We'll be creating our own company also. That's true. Yeah.
Okay. So it's company like company code, sales org. Do we have any specific node for that company also?
Yes, of course. Like we have a specific node in SAP. So once we get into application rights, we'll get to know about that. How to create a company? What is the path we need to follow? Where it is exactly? So that also we can come to know. But it will not have a separate functionality. So it will not impact any other functionalities. So like it's a corporate entity. So nothing can be done at the company code level, but everything will be updated at the company code level. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions? So like, I wanted to start with the application level, but we'll start complete, like I want to have at least like 2 sessions completely. So that configuration part for the enterprise structure, we'll see it in next sessions. So next Saturday and Sunday.
Excellent, Sudhakar. Wonderful session.
Thank
Very
you.
nice అండి. చాలా బాగుంది.
Thank you so much. సో యాక్చువల్గా సో మనం నెక్స్ట్ సెషన్ లో ఏంటంటే, సో విల్ కంప్లీట్లీ మనం ప్రాక్టికల్ సెషన్ చేద్దాం అనమాట. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ది ఫంక్షనాలిటీ వీ హ్యావ్ డిస్కస్డ్ హియర్, సో లైక్ కంపెనీ కానీ కంపెనీ కోడ్ కానీ, సో ఎనీథింగ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ వీ ఆర్ డిస్కస్డ్ హియర్, సో ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ బి క్రియేటెడ్ ఇన్ SAP. విల్ క్రియేట్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇన్ SAP ఆల్సో. So we'll come to know like how to create this structure in SAP, what are the parameters we need to consider while creating this enterprise structure in SAP, and what are the naming convention we need to use, what are the errors we face while creating, what are the notifications we'll get while creating this enterprise structure, right? We'll get to know everything while creating this in SAP. So we'll get to know. So it will be detailed session next session, like so we need to have at least 2 sessions to complete that. So if I start that, I'll not be able to create the company code itself. So again, you'll forget it by coming for next week, right? So we'll start the complete enterprise structure configuration in next sessions. Right. So any questions, any suggestions, or please let me know. Like I'm available like next 10-15 minutes also. So no questions then, like, so
Yeah,
well,
thank you for clear and very detailed session.
thank you, and thank you so much.
Sudhakar garu, very detailed session అండి. Actually, I have a small confusion in my mind.
Okay,
So, I mean, for example, if we complete the entire course, I mean, I try. I mean, it's like a little hypothetical question. If I try as a SD consultant, where I am the only person as a SD, and also I was placed in, if I placed in any implementation project. So are we in a position to judge all these, which comes to the sales organization, which comes to the storage location? I mean, are we in a position?
Of course, Andy. So the moment, like, so it's a 60 hours course, right? Like, professionally we're taking the training here. So here, after completion of course, definitely, so you'll be able to like, judge yourself up to like 3 years of experience, like whoever having the 3 years of experience, right? So that kind of knowledge you'll be getting while after completion of this course.
Super.
So 3 years వాళ్ళకి ఎంతైతే నాలెడ్జ్ వస్తుందో ఆల్మోస్ట్ లైక్ అంత నాలెడ్జ్ వస్తుంది. సో డెఫినెట్ గా, బట్ యువర్ ఎఫర్ట్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ హియర్. అట్లీస్ట్ మనం ఒక 2-3 అవర్స్ మనం డైలీ స్పెండ్ చేయగలిగితే దీనిపైన డెఫినెట్ గా, సో విల్ బి ఏబుల్ టు జస్టిఫై యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ ఫర్ 3 years, 3 to 4 years I can say easily.
Sure, Andy.
So Sudhakar, you have this access to IDES system, is it? You have
This is my personal access, Andy. So so but if you want to get it, like we'll check with the team and we'll get, like, if anybody wants, like, we'll check with the team and we'll get it done. We'll get the dedicated. If there are more people, then we'll get the server access itself, dedicated server, then we can share with others. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Sudhakar, let me know, and we can coordinate that, myself or like Shashank can also like to coordinate that one and see if we can get any group discounts.
Definitely. So just like, we need to know like how many people requires the access. Based on that, like, we can request them, like, what is the charges and how many months they'll give. Okay, so we can inquire on that.
Yeah. Sudhakar garu, at what point of time do the members need that access, Andy? Like in the training?
I'll ask you in between the session.
Yeah. At what point of time in the training do they need that access, Andy? Server access?
So next session నుంచి అవసరం అవుతుందండి ఇంకా.
ఓకే, అయితే మనము ఈ వీక్ ఒక రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ ఫామ్ పెట్టి ఎవరైతే సీరియస్ గా ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ ఉన్నారో ఆ నెంబర్ తీసుకుని అప్పుడు మీ కాంటాక్ట్ పట్టుకుని వాడు ఎంత డిస్కౌంట్ ఇస్తాడు కనుక్కుని అప్పుడు మనము వీ కెన్ ఆస్క్ దెమ్ టు అంటే పూల్ చేసి మనీ మనము ఇచ్చేయచ్చండి.
డెఫినెట్గా. సో ఒకరు మనం ఏం చేయొచ్చు అంటే, సో మీరు కానీ ఎవరైనా సరే, సో అడ్మిన్ గా ఉండి, సో ఎవరికైనా యాక్సెస్ గా ఉంటే వాళ్ళకి యూజర్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసేసి ఇచ్చేయచ్చు అనమాట.
షూర్ అండి. యా.
ఓకే.
So మెటీరియల్ కూడా ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తానన్నారు మీ ఓన్ మెటీరియల్.
యా డెఫినెట్గా అండి. సో యాక్చువల్గా మీ మెయిల్ ఐడీస్ షేర్ చేయండి ఒకసారి శశాంక్ గారితో. సో ఎవరికైతే కావాలో మెటీరియల్స్ అవన్నీ నా దగ్గర ఉన్నాయి. సో ఐ షేర్ ఐ హావ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇన్ డ్రైవ్. సో ఐ షేర్ ది డ్రైవ్ with everybody. So whoever gives their mail.
Yeah, మీరు SAP group లో ఉంటే you can post there అండి your email ID and what you want and Sudhakar garu will share.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So
thank you Sudhakar garu and Shashank especially. I think there are a lot of effort that has gone from here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Sudhakar, great initiative. It's a very wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sudhakar, I have a few more couple of questions on SD area. So
definitely, Andy. Go ahead, please. I have time.
లేదా మీకు తర్వాత separate call చేయొచ్చు.
పర్లేదండి, మీ ఇష్టం. ఇప్పుడు అడిగినా సో ఎవ్రీబడి విల్ గెట్ టు నో అబౌట్ దట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ది డౌట్స్ ఆర్ గెటింగ్.
Little further actually. Okay. We have NACE, right? And currently we have NACE where we configure all the output controls, right? Is there?
Yes. Okay, so SD specific scenario. Okay. So then you can call me separately. Other will get confused. Yeah. So SD related issues, right? So maybe you are working already in SAP, right?
Right.
Okay. So Hemant garu matladedi.
Ravi andi.
Okay, fine, sir. So you can call me, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Sure. Yeah. Fine. Any other questions?
No, Andy. Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you so much. So we'll catch up next week then. Have a nice week.
Yeah, next Saturday 10:30 p.m. CST అండి.
10:30 a.m. right?
Oh, sorry, 10:30 a.m. CST. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So yeah. Sunday is always in the evening.